The massive display screen in the United Nations Assembly Hall flickered to life, revealing the aliens' faces for the first time in human history. James Walker, Earth's chosen representative, stood firmly at the podium, his military uniform crisp and neat. The room fell silent as the members of the Galactic Council appeared before them. The aliens looked almost beautiful in their strangeness. Elder Marcus, their lead representative, had skin that shimmered with a soft blue glow. His large, dark eyes studied the humans with clear intelligence. Behind him sat the other council members, some crystalline, others seemingly made of pure energy, and a few that looked almost gas-like in their transparent chambers. "Welcome, humans," Elder Marcus spoke, his words automatically translated through the advanced systems they have provided. "We have watched your civilization with great interest. Today marks your formal introduction to the galactic community." James nodded respectfully. "On behalf of Earth, we are honored to join you." Before we proceed with formal membership discussions, Elder Marcus continued, his tone becoming more businesslike. "We must assess your military capabilities. It is standard procedure for all new species." James gestured to the presentation screen behind him. "Of course, we've prepared a comprehensive overview of Earth's defense forces." As images of tanks, fighter jets, and various weapons appeared on the screen, the council members remained quiet. But when James began explaining human firearms and projectile weapons, something unexpected happened. Light chuckles echoed through the council chamber. "Is something amusing?" James asked, maintaining his professional demeanor despite his confusion. Elder Marcus leaned forward, his blue skin pulsing with what seemed like amusement. "You still use physical projectiles, actual solid bullets and shells?" "Yes," James replied firmly. "Our firearms are highly effective and reliable." This time, the laughter was louder. A crystalline being named Thomas spoke up, his voice tinkling like wind chimes. "But surely you have energy weapons, plasma rifles, particle beam technology." "We have some experimental energy weapon programs," James admitted, "but the backbone of our military relies on proven kinetic weapon systems." The council chamber erupted in what could only be described as alien guffaws. Elder Marcus raised a hand to quiet his colleagues, but his own amusement was evident. "My dear humans," he said, trying to sound diplomatic despite his condescending tone, "you must understand. The civilizations in this council abandoned physical projectile weapons thousands of years ago. They are, how shall I put this, primitive, inefficient, almost childish." James felt his face grow hot, but years of military discipline kept his expression neutral. In the audience, several human military leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. General Roberts, seated in the front row, gripped his armrest so tight his knuckles turned white. With all due respect, James responded carefully, "Our weapons have served us well in defending our planet. Against other humans, perhaps," Elder Marcus said with what seemed like genuine pity in his voice. "But in the greater galaxy, your weapons would be useless against modern energy shields and armor. We use weapons that fire concentrated plasma, directed energy beams, and quantum disruption fields." James noticed something interesting as the alien leader spoke. While most council members were laughing or shaking their heads, one gaseous being in the back seemed to be studying the weapon specifications with great interest. "We appreciate your concern," James said firmly. "However, we stand by our military technology and capabilities." Of course," Elder Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "We will send Observer Thomas to conduct a formal assessment of your military. In time, we will help you upgrade to more civilized weapons." As the transmission ended, the assembly hall burst into heated discussions. James stepped down from the podium, his mind racing. He caught General Roberts' eye, and they shared a knowing look. Something about the council's reaction felt wrong. Too dismissive, too arrogant. In the back of the room, Commander Ann Miller was already typing notes on her tablet. If the aliens wanted to underestimate human weapons, that was their mistake. She had a feeling they might learn the hard way why humanity had stuck with their primitive guns for so long. 2 weeks after the first contact, Observer Thomas stood at the edge of the military testing range, his crystalline body gleaming in the morning sun. The air was thick with anticipation as human soldiers prepared their weapons demonstration. General Roberts watched the alien observer with careful eyes. Thomas had spent the last few days examining Earth's military bases with the same amused expression that the Council had shown during the first meeting. "Shall we begin?" General Roberts asked, gesturing toward the firing range. Thomas made a sound like tinkling glass, his species' version of a polite laugh. "Please proceed with your demonstration." Commander Miller stepped forward, carrying a standard-issue rifle. "This is our basic infantry weapon," she explained, taking aim at the target. The crack of gunfire echoed across the range. The paper target showed perfect grouping at center mass. Thomas barely glanced at the results. "Interesting. You use compressed gases to propel small metal objects. How quaint." The demonstration continued. The humans showed everything from pistols to sniper rifles, machine guns to artillery pieces. Each time, Thomas made notes on his transparent tablet with increasing disinterest. Everything changed when they reached the tank demonstration. The M1A5 tank rolled forward, its tracks kicking up dust. Its main gun elevated, targeting an old tank hull placed 2 kilometers away. The cannon roared, and downrange, the target exploded in a spectacular display of force. For the first time, Thomas showed a flicker of genuine interest. "The projectile velocity is higher than I expected." "That's our depleted uranium round," Commander Miller explained. "It can penetrate most known armor materials." Thomas quickly recovered his dismissive attitude. "Against energy shields, it would be useless. Our basic civilian vehicles have better protection." Commander Miller shared a look with General Roberts. Neither mentioned the experimental rounds in development, specifically designed to overcome energy barriers. The final demonstration was the pride of the human arsenal, a railgun installation. As the massive weapon powered up, its electromagnetic coils humming with energy, even Thomas seemed to pay more attention. The railgun fired. A hypersonic projectile created a visible distortion in the air as it traveled, completely obliterating the reinforced concrete target. "Now that," Thomas said, making more notes, "is slightly less primitive, though still far behind our standard weapons." After the demonstrations, Thomas gathered the human military leaders. "I must thank you for this educational experience," he said, his crystalline form reflecting the afternoon sun. "I will submit my report to the Council. While your weapons are quite effective for your level of development, they are far below galactic standards." As the alien observer prepared to leave, Commander Miller noticed something odd. Thomas had spent the entire demonstration focusing on the weapons themselves, but never once asked about human combat tactics or strategy. Later that evening, in a secure underground facility, General Roberts met with key military leaders. "Thomas's report will be exactly what we expected," he said, looking around the room. "They'll keep underestimating us." Commander Miller pulled up classified footage on the main screen. During the demonstrations, we had hidden sensors analyzing Thomas's physical structure. His crystalline form might be incredibly resistant to energy weapons, but it might have interesting reactions to good old-fashioned kinetic impacts. General Roberts finished with a grim smile. The room fell quiet as they watched another screen showing the alien ships in orbit. Their energy shields glowed with beautiful, complex patterns. Not a single ship showed any sign of traditional armor plating. "They've forgotten the basics," Miller said quietly. "They're so advanced, they've forgotten why we started with physical weapons in the first place. Keep all experimental weapons development under highest security," General Roberts ordered. "If the Council wants to think we're primitive, let them. But we'll be ready." In orbit, Thomas's ship prepared to depart. His report was already transmitting to the Council. "Human military poses no significant threat. Weapons primitive and ineffective against modern defenses. Recommend immediate technology uplift program to bring them to acceptable standards. The humans watched the alien ship disappear into hyperspace. They had learned far more from Thomas's visit than he realized. Sometimes, being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. The United Nations Security Council chamber was silent as the Galactic Council's message played on the main screen. Elder Marcus's blue form seemed to glow with authority as he delivered their demands. Based on Observer Thomas's report, the Council has reached a unanimous decision, he announced. Earth's military technology is dangerously obsolete. You have 30 Earth days to begin dismantling your projectile weapon systems and accept our guidance in adopting proper energy-based weapons. General Roberts clenched his fists under the table. Beside him, Commander Miller's face remained carefully neutral as Elder Marcus continued. If you refuse to comply, Earth will face economic sanctions. No trade routes, no cultural exchanges, no access to galactic technology. You will remain isolated until you abandon these primitive weapons. When the transmission ended, chaos erupted in the chamber. Representatives argued loudly about the Council's demands. Some wanted to comply immediately, eager for advanced alien technology. Others refused to give up Earth's traditional weapons. Order. The UN Secretary-General's voice cut through the noise. We need to discuss this rationally. In the midst of the arguing, a new transmission came through. This time, it was Representative Diana, the gaseous being who had shown interest in human weapons during the first contact. Her translucent form swirled with concern. I speak unofficially, she began, her voice soft but urgent. Not all Council members agree with this decision. Some of us believe forcing rapid technological change could be dangerous. General Roberts leaned forward. What do you mean? Your species developed projectile weapons for good reasons, Diana continued. They work. They're reliable. The Council's arrogance in dismissing them troubles me. Commander Miller spoke up. Are you saying we should resist the Council's demands? Diana's gaseous form swirled faster, showing agitation. I cannot advise officially, but consider this. Why does the Council seem so eager to disarm you? The transmission cut off abruptly. The chamber fell into tense silence. Hours later, in a secure military bunker deep underground, Earth's military leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. Satellite images showed increased alien ship activity in orbit. They're trying to intimidate us, Commander Miller said, pointing to the screen. But look at their ship designs. Everything depends on energy shields. No physical armor anywhere. General Roberts nodded. All their eggs in one basket. Diana's warning confirms our suspicions. They're not just dismissive of our weapons. They're afraid of them. The meeting lasted through the night. As dawn broke, they had their plan. Commander Miller drafted the orders. All weapons manufacturing would appear to slow down, but would secretly continue in hidden facilities. New underground bunkers would be built. Military supplies would be dispersed and hidden. The official response to the Council was carefully worded. Earth understands your concerns and will begin studying the transition to energy weapons. However, this process must be gradual to maintain our security during the change. Elder Marcus's reply was immediate and cold. You have 30 days. No extensions. As the deadline approached, Earth's surface showed signs of compliance. Old tanks were publicly scrapped. Artillery pieces were demolished. But deep underground, the machines kept running. New weapons were designed, incorporating both human ingenuity and what they'd learned about alien technology. On the 29th day, Commander Miller stood in a secret facility, watching workers assemble new ammunition types. The rounds looked normal but contained special cores designed to disrupt energy shields. The Council thinks we're being stubborn and primitive, she told General Roberts. They don't understand that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons. It's our ability to adapt and survive. And our ability to learn from history, Roberts added. Every civilization that forgot the basics eventually fell to primitives who remembered them. Above them, the alien ships continued their orbital patrols, their energy shields glowing with advanced technology. They never scanned deep enough to detect the massive preparations happening beneath Earth's surface. The Council had given Earth an ultimatum, thinking they were forcing humanity to advance. Instead, they had given Earth time to prepare. Sometimes, the greatest weapon was letting your enemy believe they had already won. The attack came without warning. A radical faction of the Council, tired of waiting for Earth's compliance, decided to force the issue. Their ships descended from orbit, energy weapons charging, confident in their technological superiority. General Roberts watched the tactical display as red dots appeared above major cities. "They're targeting our visible military bases," he said, his voice calm despite the situation. "Exactly as we expected." Commander Miller nodded, entering commands into her console. "All hidden bases report ready. Should we show them why humans stuck with primitive weapons?" The alien ships fired their first shots. Brilliant beams of energy struck abandoned military installations, turning empty buildings to ash. The radical faction's leader, a crystalline being named Bright Edge, broadcast his message across all frequencies. "Your obsolete weapons are gone. Surrender and accept our guidance, or we will continue the cleansing." The response came not from Earth's communications, but from hidden bunkers worldwide. Railroad-mounted guns emerged from mountainsides. Concealed missile silos opened. Camouflaged artillery positions revealed themselves. The first human counterattack caught the aliens completely off guard. A massive railgun round struck Bright Edge's flagship. The alien vessel's energy shields, designed to deflect plasma and laser fire, did nothing to stop the hypersonic tungsten projectile. The round punched through the ship from bow to stern. "Impossible." Bright Edge's voice crackled over the comm. Their weapons were destroyed. More ships began falling. The aliens' energy shields, so effective against their usual opponents, proved useless against good old-fashioned kinetic weapons. Traditional anti-aircraft guns filled the sky with flak, disrupting the aliens' targeting systems. Artillery shells exploded around their ships, the shrapnel finding gaps in their energy defenses. "They're breaking formation," Commander Miller reported, watching the tactical display. "Their shields can't handle physical impacts." In orbit, the alien fleet started to panic. Their sensors, calibrated to detect energy weapons, had missed Earth's hidden defenses completely. They had never thought to look for primitive projectile weapons. A particularly clever human strategy involved simple metal pellets released in the aliens' flight paths. The ship's own high speed turned these harmless objects into devastating projectiles. Their energy shields, designed to stop high-energy beams, were completely ineffective against this ancient warfare technique. "This is impossible," Bright Edge broadcasted again. "You're supposed to be primitive." General Roberts allowed himself a small smile as he replied, "We are. That's why we're winning." Earth's response was coordinated and devastating. Years of warfare had taught humans the value of combined arms tactics. While the aliens focused on energy weapons alone, humans used everything at their disposal. Tanks emerged from underground bunkers. Fighter jets launched from hidden airfields. Each weapon was chosen specifically to exploit weaknesses in alien defenses. The radical faction's attack lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, dozens of alien ships lay destroyed or crippled. The survivors fled back to orbit, their confidence shattered by humanity's primitive weapons. In the aftermath, Commander Miller surveyed the tactical display showing the retreating alien ships. "They never understood," she said quietly. "It's not about how advanced your weapons are. It's about using the right tool for the job." General Roberts nodded. They forgot the fundamental rule of warfare: never underestimate your opponent. A new transmission came through, this time from Representative Diana. Her gaseous form swirled with what looked like satisfaction. "The radical faction acted without Council approval," she announced. "But perhaps this incident will teach the Council a valuable lesson about dismissing primitive technology." As Earth's forces stood down from high alert, The true extent of humanity's preparation became clear. For every weapon the aliens had seen and dismissed, humans had developed countermeasures specifically designed to overcome advanced alien defenses. The aliens had laughed at human guns. They weren't laughing anymore. In his command center, General Roberts received reports from around the world. Minimal damage to Earth's real military capabilities. Maximum shock effect on the alien forces. Sometimes, being underestimated was the best possible advantage. Send word to all commands, he ordered. This was just the beginning. Now we show them what humanity can really do. After repelling the radical faction's attack, Earth's military leaders gathered in the underground command center. Satellite feeds showed the remaining alien ships regrouping in high orbit, their formation chaotic and uncertain. They're vulnerable, Commander Miller said, pointing to the tactical display. Their entire combat doctrine is based on energy weapons and shields. They have no backup plans. General Roberts studied the intelligence reports from the previous battle. Time for Operation Judgment, he announced. Show them that humans don't just defend. We strike back. Earth's response began with a surprise that shocked the alien fleet. Hidden spacecraft, built in secret mountain hangars, launched from dozens of locations worldwide. Unlike the sleek, shield-dependent alien vessels, these human ships were heavily armored and bristling with both kinetic and energy weapons. Impossible, the alien commanders transmitted. Your species isn't supposed to have space combat capability. The human ships carried a deadly surprise, hybrid weapon systems. While the aliens had focused purely on energy weapons, humans had been studying both technologies. Each human vessel carried traditional guns scaled for space combat, along with reverse-engineered energy weapons. The battle in orbit was short but fierce. Human railguns fired specially designed rounds that fragmented just before impact, overwhelming alien shields with multiple impacts. Traditional explosive warheads, enhanced with alien technology studied during the first contact, proved devastatingly effective. Their entire defense strategy is flawed, Commander Miller observed as another alien ship fell. They devoted all their technology to stopping energy weapons, forgetting the basics of physical protection. The human ships demonstrated another advantage, adaptability. When alien vessels adjusted their shields to better deflect physical projectiles, human captains switched to energy weapons. When the aliens strengthened against energy attacks, the humans returned to kinetic weapons. In their arrogance, the aliens had created a one-dimensional military. Humanity, with its long history of warfare, knew better than to rely on a single type of weapon. On the command screen, General Roberts watched as human forces executed a classic pincer movement. The aliens, used to energy weapon battles at long range, had no defense against old-fashioned close combat tactics. They never learned proper space combat doctrine, he noted. They just took their ground-based energy weapons into space. The alien fleet's formation broke completely. Those ships that could still flee did so, jumping to hyperspace in panic. Those too damaged to escape surrendered to human forces. In the aftermath, Earth's ships began recovery operations, picking up escape pods and securing damaged alien vessels. The captured technology would prove invaluable, but not in the way the aliens might expect. Humans didn't plan to abandon their primitive weapons. They would combine both technologies. A transmission came through from the Galactic Council. Elder Marcus's blue face showed none of its former arrogance. We may have misjudged humanity's military capabilities, he admitted. A common mistake, General Roberts replied calmly. Assuming advanced technology always beats tried and true methods. Representative Diana, speaking next, seemed pleased. Perhaps the Council should reconsider its position on primitive weapons. Humanity has proven that old technology, properly applied, can be just as effective as new developments. Commander Miller's voice carried a hint of pride as she responded. The most advanced weapon is useless if you forget the fundamental principles of combat. Humanity never forgot. As reports came in from around the solar system, the true scale of Earth's victory became clear. Human forces had destroyed or captured over 60% of the alien fleet. More importantly, they had shattered the Council's assumptions about military technology. In the command center, General Roberts drafted his report to Earth's governments. Today's victory wasn't just about weapons, he wrote. It was about strategy, adaptability, and the wisdom to learn from history. The aliens thought they had outgrown physical weapons. Instead, they had made themselves vulnerable to them. Commander Miller added her own observation. In trying to force humanity to advance, they revealed their own weakness. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, especially when your enemy has forgotten how to defend against them. Above Earth, human ships began establishing the defensive perimeter. The aliens had laughed at human guns. Now those same guns had proven that sometimes the simplest solution was the most effective. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council's main research facility, alien scientists gathered around a damaged human tank. The vehicle had been captured during the failed attack on Earth, and now it served as the center of their investigation. Look at this armor design. The lead scientist, a luminous being named Light Seeker, pointed at the tank's layered protection. It's not just metal. They've developed composite materials we never considered. Elder Marcus stood nearby, his blue skin dimmer than usual. The recent defeat had shaken the Council's confidence. Explain to me, he said quietly, how our advanced shields failed against their weapons. Light Seeker activated a holographic display showing the battle footage. Our shields were designed to stop energy weapons, lasers, plasma, particle beams. We never thought to defend against physical objects because we believed that stage of warfare was over. On another table lay a collection of human bullets and shell casings. Representative Diana floated near them, her gaseous form swirling thoughtfully. While we focused on ever more powerful energy weapons, humans kept improving their projectile technology. The scientists ran simulation after simulation. Each test revealed the same truth. Their defensive technology had a massive blind spot. Energy shields, so effective against advanced weapons, did almost nothing against simple physical impacts. It's not just about the weapons, another scientist noted, examining footage of human battle tactics. Look how they combine different attack methods. When we adapt to one, they switch to another. In a nearby testing chamber, alien researchers fired energy weapons at human armor samples. The results surprised them. The simple layers of metal and composite materials, developed over centuries of warfare, proved remarkably effective at dissipating energy attacks. They never abandoned their old technology, Light Seeker realized. They just kept improving it alongside new developments. Elder Marcus watched as the scientists tested a captured human rifle. The weapon was simple, reliable, and devastating against targets protected only by energy shields. We became so focused on advancement that we forgot the basics of warfare. A junior researcher rushed into the chamber, holding a data tablet. "You need to see this," he announced. "We've analyzed their space combat tactics. They're using modified versions of warfare techniques that are thousands of years old." The display showed human ships performing maneuvers that the Council's fleet had long forgotten. Simple tactics like crossing the T, flanking movements, and concentrated fire, all made deadlier by modern technology. In our rush to seem advanced, Elder Marcus said slowly, "We became predictable. All our ships used the same weapons, the same defenses, the same tactics. Humans maintained variety in their arsenal." Representative Diana moved closer to the human tank. "They understand something we forgot," she observed. "True advancement doesn't mean abandoning what works. It means building upon it." Light Seeker compiled his findings into a report for the Council. The conclusions were clear. 1. Energy shields needed complete redesign to stop physical projectiles. 2. Council military doctrine required urgent update to include traditional combat tactics. 3. The assumption that newer always meant better had nearly led to disaster. In the facility's communication center, Elder Marcus prepared to address the full council. The recent defeat had taught them costly but valuable lessons. Their technological arrogance had blinded them to simple, effective solutions. "Perhaps," he said to Diana, "we should be learning from humans instead of trying to change them." Diana's form brightened in agreement. They never stopped learning, never stopped improving. While we thought we had peaked, they kept pushing forward. In all directions, not just one. The research facility hummed with activity as scientists began developing new defensive systems, ones that could stop both energy and kinetic weapons. They finally understood that true advancement meant respecting and learning from the past, not dismissing it. Elder Marcus looked once more at the human tank, seeing it not as a primitive weapon, but as a symbol of warfare wisdom accumulated over centuries. Sometimes, he realized, the greatest revelations came from the simplest sources. The Council had laughed at human guns. Now those same guns had taught them the price of arrogance. 1 year after the battle that changed galactic warfare, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different. A new section had been added, with seats designed for human representatives. The chamber's elegant energy barriers were now reinforced with physical armor, a visible symbol of the lessons learned. General Roberts stood at the podium, addressing the assembled council members. Commander Miller sat nearby, alongside Earth's diplomatic team. The aliens watched with newfound respect as the human general spoke. "Today marks the beginning of a new era," Roberts announced. "Earth accepts its position on the Council, not as students to be taught, but as partners in galactic security." Elder Marcus, his blue skin glowing with genuine warmth, stood to respond. "The Council acknowledges its error in judging human military technology as primitive. We have much to learn from each other." The changes went far beyond simple recognition. Throughout the chamber, evidence of human influence could be seen. Council security forces now carried both energy and kinetic weapons. Their ceremonial armor combined traditional physical protection with energy shielding. Commander Miller activated a holographic display, showing the new joint defense system being constructed around Earth. "By combining our technologies," she explained, "we've created defenses stronger than either of us had alone." The display showed the innovative hybrid system. Traditional physical armor protected against kinetic weapons, while upgraded energy shields stopped both particle beams and smaller projectiles. It was a perfect blend of human practical wisdom and alien advanced technology. But the real change, Representative Diana noted, her gaseous form moving excitedly, isn't in our weapons or defenses. It's in how we think about warfare and technology. She was right. The Council had established a new principle. No technology would be dismissed simply for being old or primitive. Every approach, whether ancient or modern, would be judged on its practical merits. In the space around Earth, joint military exercises demonstrated this new philosophy. Human ships, still built with physical armor, now sported advanced energy weapons. Alien vessels had been redesigned with armor plating to complement their energy shields. The Council's greatest mistake, Elder Marcus admitted to the Assembly, was believing that advancement only moved in one direction. Humans showed us that true progress means keeping what works while embracing new ideas. Lightseeker, now head of the Council's new Combined Technologies Division, presented the latest research. "By studying human warfare history, we've rediscovered valuable principles our civilization had forgotten. Sometimes, the old solutions are still the best solutions." The changes reached beyond military technology. Council species began examining other areas where they might have become too dependent on energy-based solutions. Traditional physical tools and methods, long dismissed as obsolete, were reevaluated. Commander Miller couldn't help but smile as she watched alien cadets training with both energy rifles and traditional firearms. "They finally understood," she said to General Roberts. "It's not about having the most advanced weapons. It's about having the right weapons for the job." The Council session concluded with a historic announcement. Earth would lead a new military training program, teaching other species the combined arms tactics that had proved so effective. In return, humans would gain access to advanced alien technology, not to replace their existing weapons, but to enhance them. A year ago, the Council laughed at human guns, General Roberts said in his closing remarks. Today, we stand together, stronger because we learned from each other. The universe is vast and full of surprises. We must be ready for anything, using every tool at our disposal. As the session ended, Elder Marcus approached the human leaders. "We thought we were coming to teach you," he said. "Instead, you taught us the dangers of forgetting our roots." The grand chamber slowly emptied, but the impact of this day would echo through the galaxy for generations. The species that had once mocked primitive human weapons now stood ready to defend their civilization, with both the wisdom of the past and the technology of the future. In the end, it wasn't just about guns or energy weapons. It was about remembering that progress doesn't mean abandoning what works. Sometimes, the oldest solutions still held the greatest wisdom.